38 years ago, I headed out for the East Coast, Bob Dylan line, headed out for the East Coast for graduate school, and upon arriving in Boston, I instantly connected with two classmates, Doug and Marcus, who became my study buddies. And during that 2-year program, we gathered every night to work on problem sets, and we built such a strong connection that at graduation, with each of us going off to different cities, we decided we needed a way to stay in touch. So here's what we did. We all liked being outside, and we liked having wilderness adventures, so we made a pledge to each other that we would meet once each year at a different national park. But would we really do it? Would we really follow through on our plan? Well, to ensure that we did, we basically blackmailed each other. We set up a bank account in the days just before the commencement, and we ordered each other to deposit $25 a month into the account, the sum of which each year would be used to pay for our trip. And none of us were going to let that money go to waste. So it worked. Just last month, the three of us gathered for our 35th consecutive year, this time in Capitol Reef National Park in eastern Utah. And the highlight was an all-day walk through Lower Spring Canyon. We tramped together for 11 miles along the sandy bottom of that chasm with its vertical red rock walls rising 800 feet above us for the entire length. At the end, at the exit of the canyon, there was a waist-high stream that you had to ford. And since our feet and our legs were tired from the long walk, the plunge into that cold water was just some sort of perfection. It was an experience that the three of us had together, and it's one that we will never forget for as long as we live. And that was just one of many. During our 3 decades of trips together, we've now visited something close to 70 national park sites, and we've made memories in each one of them. And along the way, we've become national park fans, if not aficionados, and we've strengthened our already strong friendships. Now, as a sidebar, you may know that there are now 423 national park sites. And these are places that are managed by the National Park System. They're not all national parks. They include national battlefields and national historic sites and national memorials, national rivers, national seashores. But of course, there's the national monuments, of which there are 85, and most spectacularly, there are the national parks themselves, of which there are just 63. California, still on the sidebar, California has 9 national parks. Can you name them? I'll do them in alphabetical order. Channel Islands, Death Valley, Joshua Tree, Kings Canyon National Park, Lassen Volcanic National Park, Pinnacles National Park, Redwood National Park, Sequoia National Park, and what is the missing park? Yosemite, maybe the greatest of all of California's national parks. Now, a lot of people have been to all of California's 9 national parks. And indeed, a fair number of people have been to all of the nation's 63 national parks. But just a few people can claim to have visited all of the 423 national park sites. And it appears, by my research, that only one person has ever visited all 423 of them consecutively one by one after another in order. And that person is a fellow named Micah Meyer. In 2019, this 33-year-old spent 3 years driving a windowless van across all 50 states and the 5 U.S. territories before finally finishing at the Lincoln Memorial. He was compelled to do this trip after his father died from cancer at the too young age of 58, and Michael wanted to do something that would honor his dad and inspire other people. And he tried to get sponsors for this trip, but most backed out when they learned that he was queer. He finally did convince one outdoor products company to sponsor him, but 11 months into his trip, his contract was terminated because there was too much LGBTQ coverage on the social media. So Micah was now out of money, and his trip was in jeopardy. Well, he had a master's degree in music and in voice performance, so he came up with this plan that he would drive and find churches who would allow him to sing along the way, and he could collect money as donations to sponsor his trip. And lo and behold, we were one of those churches. Does anybody remember the day, Paul, anybody remember the day he was here? He sang beautifully. And I was so thrilled because as a National Park fan, I thought this is my chance to meet somebody who has seen, he had seen over 2/3 of the parks by the time he got here. So after he sang beautifully here and the service was over, I cornered him right over by the piano to ask him what were his favorite national parks. I mean, I've been to a few myself, but I had seen nothing like what he'd seen. I was looking for tips. I was mining for information. What was it, Micah? Was it Yosemite? What's the best park? Is it Grand Canyon? Is it Yellowstone, the first national park? Or maybe it's in a more obscure park like Big Bend or Olympic. And here's what Micah told me. He told me that the best national park in America is the one where my friends met me and we hiked together. The best national parks in America are the ones where Micah's friends met him and they hiked together. And of course they were. Of course those are the best ones. Because we are social people. We come from tribal cultures. We like being with one another. But we're not always able to achieve that, are we? In fact, like Micah alone on the road, people now spend more time alone than ever before, thanks largely to technology and the television and the advent of the internet and handheld devices and media companies that shower us with more programming than we can possibly consume, but also due to urban sprawl, which leads to longer commutes and more alone time in the car and less time with our communities. And the data is startling. Children, of course, spend almost no time alone, and even teenagers barely spend an hour or two alone every day, but by the time we hit our mid-30s, we begin spending more time alone than we do with our friends and our family, and that accelerates by the time we reach 60. And when we're in our 70s and at risk of losing a partner, the amount of time we spend alone grows beyond that. And many seniors spend 8 or 10 or 12 hours alone every day. And people aren't happy about this. A Harvard study from last year found that a third of Americans complain of loneliness, and that number rose to more than half when you talk to mothers of young children. It's bad for our health. Humans are social animals. We live longer, happier, healthier lives when we are connected to others. One new study says that loneliness accelerates the aging process even more than smoking. It's a silent epidemic. We were meant to be with other humans, but if anything, the pandemic has made that problem even worse. So, how might we ease our loneliness? Here are a few suggestions. Call a friend. Meet them for coffee. Make plan to have more coffee. Drink a lot of coffee with your friends. Find a way to be with others through service. This can be as simple as taking lemons from your tree and over to the neighbor's house, or volunteering at the library's used bookstore, or at the food bank. Just do something for somebody else. It helps them, and it makes you feel good. See if your local school or preschool needs a tutor or somebody to help out. Learn to play an instrument, a ukulele, and join the MDUUCs. Check out your local garden club or hiking club or whatever it is that you're interested in. Learn to play pickleball. I mean, everybody else is doing it, why not you? Create a new tradition with your friends. This is what my bride, Nancy, who's out on the patio, does. She convinces a couple of friends to sign up for organized bicycle rides, metric centuries each year. And then she and her friends have a reason to get together on weekends to train. Blackmail your friends. Set up a bank account and make them pay dues into it. Then use that sum to go visit national parks. And here's my last suggestion, and certainly not least, probably should be first. Get involved here at Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church. Get yourself over here for those events and those projects that interest you. That is literally what this church is here for. That's why this building and all those other buildings exist, to create opportunities for you to be in an intentional community with other people. Good to see you this morning.